Oh, hello. Um, for the let's see. Anyways, so for today's stream, we're gonna be working on our Voidco the category. Items that are fairy tale themed, finding both. So, since I've streamed, sure everything sounds good. Just wanna this thing. Just doing a quick test just to check how the sound is and how the background music is. Testing, 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 testing. Okay, if anything, I think I'm a little bit loud, but otherwise, I think we're good. So we can. So, yeah. So, the first set of items are going to be fairy tale based. To help look up that, I'm going to look up. AI's or Wikipedia. So over here is like, man, this is better. Please. Odd enough. Right? Is that better? Let's see. This is always the struggle for me because I want it to sound perfect. But anywho, I think that should be about right. Anywho, let's look up some Brothers Grimm songs. Let me know if the music is a little crazy. Brothers Grimm. Hinder. Smartphone series. So I'm just looking to see inspiration for ideas of things that are a little bit more like a little more out of pocket, a little more random, not random, just like more story like, you know? Like if we had the figure, you know, Anansi, the spider god, the the weaver, the trickster, if they were to impart some kind of ability, I just imagine it would be something that isn't quite exactly uh just a statistical bonus. Something that perhaps was more abstract, I think is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, something more abstract is what I'm looking for. Word on kinds of abilities that creatures and stories have. So let's see. So there's obviously Hansel and Gretel, uh, Rapunzel, White Snake. Wise King receives a covered dish every evening. A young servant is intrigued one night when he retrieves the king's dish and discovers a coiled white snake under the cover. The servant takes a small bite and discovers that he can now understand and communicate with animals. He's shortly after accused of stealing the queen's ring. Uh, thing. Okay, so this is kind of what I was talking about a little bit. What I'm looking. So got a person here, a servant. He takes a bite of a white coiled snake and he can suddenly understand and communicate with animals. That sounds like a permanent speak with animals thing to me. Um, he's accused of stealing the queen's ring. He's given 1 day to prove his innocence. He overhears a goose complaining about a ring stuck on her neck, on her throat. Interesting. And it's the missing ring. He then discovers a number of animals in distress, including 3 fish out of water, ants. Basically, this guy goes on a whole mission, and thanks to him being able to understand animals, uh, able to marry the king's daughter. Um, Interesting. The princess sends the servant off to bring her an apple from the tree of life. He sets off on a large journey. He encounters three ravens who have flown to the end of the world where the tree stands and retrieve the apple for him. Interesting. So, The White Serpent's Flesh is a tale of stories where the character comes to know the language of animals through the help of a serpent by eating its flesh. Mythical ring thrown away, swallowed by an animal. So I think there's something there for us to work with. Uh, White Snake series and Arabella. So I'm not sure if this should be a limited item. Um, I'm thinking about. Okay, so the Flesh of the White Serpent, the Tree of Life. It's basically animal friendship, is really what it is. Yep. Target a beast that you can see within range. This is going to saving throw out charm conditioned. Okay, so we can do a combination item, a charm. Arm of the White Serpent. it's for. Space. Arms don't have new thing. An uncommon potion. No, not potion. Wondrous item. Requires attunement. Oh, it's a white snake. I'm kind of imagining we're gonna have beef. The white stone. I guess we could have a figurine, right? Figurine of wondrous power. Cool, there isn't. There's a serpentine owl. I guess serpentine is the stone type. Okay. There's ivory goats. There's marble elephants. What are some white stone? A pearl you can't. I think we'll just have white diamond serpent. It's got to be uncommon. Wait, damn. This is really tough here. Getting off a lot. Not technically a wondrous power item. Actually, I think it would be pretty funny. Okay, I think I've got an idea. This is white diamond serpent. So figurines of wondrous power. Essentially, they say Blah 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 blah. Doesn't require attunement. Space. There we go. Figurine of wondrous power. Hold on a minute. That's right. Yeah, there's a space. Okay. I'm gonna keep that one down there just as our like copy. What is it? White diamond serpent? Demon statuette of a. There's just a snake stat. Snake. Miss White snake. Become a venomous snake for, say, 24 hours. This has been used. It can't be used again until 5 days have passed. And we're gonna add as a magic action. And choose to eat the snake to gain the effects of animals and animal ship at will. So essentially, it is a rare item. You can use a magic action to throw it on the ground and it becomes a venomous snake, a white snake. And as a magic action, you can choose to eat a while it is a living creature. The effects of speak with animals and animal friendship at will. Hours. So it's rare. So it's something you could have in your back pocket. There's an animal or a snake and you want to be able to really shape the world around you. Be interesting. Okay. We got one item. What a wild item to start with. But again, that's just kind of how inspiration works. I saw that story and I was like, huh, pretty interesting to have a snake that you gotta eat. Again, I'm looking for things that are very uh like, is this item broken? I doubt there's gonna be like 15 of these that are out there or something. And if somebody uses it for 8 hours, boy, that'll be a crazy 8 hours that they'll use it for. But I kind of what it would be. Like, imagine a Piper situation. You get all the rats in town or something to go out. Crazy. Let's look and see what other stories there are. That's Cinderella. I'll get through some of like the more basic ones, but I'm kind of looking for some of the ones that stand out or that I'm like, oh, I've never heard of this before. Um, Stands out. Wow, there are so many stories. Holy crap. Volume 2? Hail from Heaven. That's not a magic item. I don't know what it is. Woman in. This is here. Hey. The straw, the coal, and the bean. An old woman has some beans she intended to cook for her fire. So the straw. Oh, the beans come alive, essentially. I'm gonna put some jumping beans in here. Heck yeah. The living beans of belligerence. Up. This item. Common. This magical bean. Bag of beans. Bad thing or good? This magical bag of beans. Okay, what do they do though? Bags of beans of belligerence. Maybe I feel like you just need something to cause a distraction. They're kind of like just like firecrackers, you know? But just the sort of things that um, yeah, the sort of things that maybe can be thrown. Can be thrown or be activated or thrown. That's right, I have a Ko-Fi page. Forgot about that. Oh yeah, check that out. God, that's even though I gotta go back and figure that out. Oh man. Let me add that on my to-do list. Dang, coffee thing. But anyhow, it's magical bag of beans. And this magical bag of beans is activated or thrown using the magic action. Nope, that's too messy. Magical bag of beans can be activated. Take the magic action. Toss the bag to a place within 60 feet, and the beans to life. Yelling, cursing, and being belligerent. Not fat, no. It doesn't have spell. How you spell belligerent? Who else? Okay. Loud enough to hear, to be heard 150 feet away. Alternatively, you can place a base bag down as a magic action and instruct the beans wait up to 1 hour before coming over. Back down. Set the bag down. I think set the bag down is better. Okay. That works. Spaces are here. No. Could be. How do I hold this? Too big. Okay. It's kind of too big. We can add. I like that. This helps keep it. Two items so far, not going at a great pace. Gonna have to work on some extra ones tomorrow. I did like the bean idea. I think that was a funny story. We know the story of Cinderella, the devil with the 3 golden hairs. A poor woman gives birth to a son. Seems the boy is instructed to go to hell and return with 3 of the devil's hairs. Interesting. Combination of the child of fate, child of prophecy, and tales of 3 hairs from the devil's beard. I feel like there's anything that's there that's fairy tale enough. Clever Hans, I feel like I know the story of. He has a conversation with his mother every morning and evening. Hans means he puts the goat in his pocket. He's not very clever. It's too much of a item there. The flail from heaven. Tale begins with a peasant tilling his fields, a pair of oxen. Explicitly, while in the field, the oxen's horns grow to an extraordinary size, an effect that prevents him from growing with them. Blah blah blah. On the way back home, he spotted blah. Pleasant kindly tree. Spied angels threshing oats. Wow. While he was viewing the angels, someone cut down the tree. He carved a pit. Before descending, he stole a hoe and a flail, which were lying in the heavenly fields. Interesting. Okay, this gives me an idea for a very silly item. An item pair. Let's see. Flail from right? Easy. A weapon. Gonna be so what we're gonna do is this is the flail of an angel, right? So we're gonna go look at let's look at a solar. How strong is a solar again? CR21. Wow. What other angels are there? Star 16. Let's look at the planet's heart because its cousin should be around it in the monster manual. There. Guess they didn't do it that way. That's where. So they have Planetar stats. Okay. CR16. They have a radiant sword. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. The Radiant Sword. Angel. What's the other angel? There's one more I'm missing. One. So almost all of them do an extra 4d8 radiant damage. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. Deals an additional. So hasn't sold the oxen to the butcher, bartered a turnip seed, which is exchanged. Uh, Bree reached up to heaven, which is where he saw the angels. Someone cut the tree, so he stole. Similar to Jack and the Beanstalk, really. So how about, so we've got to have something negative with this here, this flail, the stolen flail from heaven. Could have it. Not a lot. Fall prone. That's something statistically that occurs. Percent of chance, or percent of time, there's a chance that something could happen. I kind of want to have something like a natural one. Thing is, it's really strong. The flame tongue sword. Flame tongue is rare. That only deals an additional 2d6. So this has got to be something very bad. Oh, how about you could have it that while you're wielding this, AC is lowered. Wielding this flail, your AC is -5. That'd be pretty crazy. Wouldn't quite make up for the damage for this rarity, though. I don't think so. So I'm really looking forward for inspiration. Have someone turn it into an ox. The other thing I was thinking of, since he, oh hey, finally home and able to play Expedition 33 while listening to the stream. Hey, welcome. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do that as soon as I get out of the stream too. I built such a really cool build with Lune, and it's so fun. I get to do Maelstrom every turn, essentially, almost. The game's still challenging. I love it so much. Anywho, thinking of magic items that are fairy tale focused and that are ridiculous. So far, we've got the figurine of wondrous power, the white diamond serpent, based on the creature of the story, which is a white diamond serpent figurine, and when it comes to life as a venomous snake, you can eat it. And if you eat it, you gain the effect of speak with animal and animal friendship at will for 8 hours. It is a rare item, and then if you eat it, it's gone. So I will add that too. If eaten, this item is destroyed. 24 hours. That's the case for rare. First level spell, 12 hours. 2 first level spells. But at will, though, animal friendship and speak with animals. It's animal friendship already lasts for 24 hours. So essentially, you could, for that time period, take the white serpent and start to lead like a whole animal. See, this is why it's too powerful. See, this is why I say even for rare, even if it destroys the item, it's still strong for 12 hours. I think 8 hours is good. But you could get a whole forest potentially under your control in that time period for 24 hours. Granted, it takes consuming it, but this does not count as consumable because it is still just a white serpent that can a serpent all the time. Yeah. We got the living beans of belligerence, which are magical beans that basically can be a distraction. They start to come to life and start yelling, cursing, and being belligerent. You could throw them, or you could place them down and kind of instruct them, like, wait here an hour and then come out. That's cool, little guys. And then the holy flail, the stolen flail from heaven. It's about a guy who stole a flail from heaven, but before descending, he stole a hoe and a flail. I'm gonna put that this magic damage only functions when dual wielding the flail and a staff weapon. Still not a big enough penalty, I think. We're gonna reduce that to 2d8 damage. Should I specify a hoe? This magical damage only functions when I like something like Love's First Kiss is a potion that can remove unconscious, powerful, but niche. Yeah, I was thinking about that for something. I was thinking about that for a kind of a spindle item, like the thing that they give Sleeping Beauty and she pricks her finger on. I was thinking about an item like that where it's like you can use it to prick people. The first time is like free, but then every other time it's there's a chance that you might prick yourself. And then it was gonna be like 8 hours or until someone uses the magic action to kiss you. And then yeah, it'd be pretty again niche, but I'm trying to think of some kind of backdrop to this flail that could be only functions wielder is barefoot. I feel like back to you, stolen flail from heaven. Go on. I think we've got enough weird ones. There's the old. Go to some classic. Stuff that's like also from other stories. We got Cinderella. There's the whole Ash association, right? We could have some slippers. Glass slippers. Maybe not glass slippers, but slippers of the Ash Cinder Bride. Wondrous item. We've got to have a very rare at least on the board. See if somebody gets it. Requires attunement. What are you thinking about the game? I've been thinking about it nonstop. It's so good. Okay, let's see. Okay, so slippers of the Cinder Bride. Full name for what they do. Again, these items, I want them to be like very like not just niche, but like vague. Not vague. Okay, all right. So let's say we are sticking with Cinderella's shoe, right? These glass-like shoes never break. Gain advantage on dexterity, acrobatics. Performance. Once for a long rest. Something that Cinderella does. Also, just kind of like the name insinuates. I think there's something very funny about that knob one and giving it to the cow with magical arms. You now have the strength of a cow. I had that before. That's funny. I definitely gotta have the cow one. Slippers of the Cinder Bride. It implies some kind of fire motif. Ashes at the very least. So perhaps John acrobatics and performance, which is pretty good. It's very rare. It's 2 skills. Makes sense. I don't want to give it just like mirror image sounds pretty good for being like a glass kind of thing. You know, play on that. Once per long rest can cast mirror image. Lastly, some kind of fire thing. Oh, what about how useful is it? I was thinking Cinderella leaves behind a shoe, right? So if you willingly leave behind a shoe, maybe on the one okay, I don't know how silly this is, but maybe on the one hand, if somebody finds the other shoe, it lets them teleport to you. Or on the other hand, you can teleport to the location where you dropped the shoe off. Uh, but get the effects of the shoes unless you're wearing both. I'll put here both shoes gain advantage on dexterity, acrobatics, and performance checks. Okay. For long rest. Leave behind a shoe, one shoe. And creature who finds the shoe. When another creature uses a magic action on the shoe, they can choose to teleport to your location or you teleport to theirs, to the nearest spot, the nearest unoccupied spot. So that one, if someone else finds this shoe, they become charmed by you, but don't know who the shoe belongs to. Well, I like the idea of there being. I feel like it's a powerful item. Of like, okay, for one, you just have advantage on dexterity, acrobatics, and performance checks. Pretty good. Um, you can leave behind the shoe, and I just feel like there's some interesting things you could do with that. Of like, um, yeah. So that's why I'm like, okay, maybe you leave the shoe behind someplace, right? And you're like, maybe it's we're being captured, and you're like, hey, I'm leaving my shoe behind here, and these guys are gonna get us. But once the rest of the team finds my shoe, then they'll get me back to safety, or they'll come to get me. Or maybe there's a mission where you're like, we're gonna go on a suicide mission, and you're like, take my shoe, leave it behind. But definitely one that you don't want to, like, it's some risk. You don't want to just like leave it someplace and someone grabs it and it's like, oh, what's this? And they go. So I feel like there's enough like risk reward there of it being like a pretty powerful item. Um, yeah. See if anybody. Still feel like this should something else. Should be like one more thing. As a very rare. So gain resistance to fire damage. Just to fit the fire theme. Okay. You here, so we've got a Cinderella themed item. There's the huntsman's bow that's out there, huntsman's crossbow that's out there. Um, there's the Huntsman's Axe. I feel like I got there like that before. There's the Spindle. We talked about Snow White. Uh, your movement's decreased by 5 feet, walking uneven everywhere. Taking like 2 or 3 more detail inspired ones. There's Little Red Riding Hood. Don't stray from the trail. To the dangerous areas. Candle from the witch's window. We'll do the Spindle of the Sleep Curse. Spindle of the Sleep Curse. This item. I don't know if it's going to be very, very rare. I'll put very rare for now. Definitely requires attunement. Well, it has the word curse in its name, so this cursed spindle and too vague. Used to take a creature to force a creature into a deep slumber. Deep. Sure. Within 5 feet of you. Wisdom save DC 17. Failure. They fall into a magical slumber for 8 hours. Till take damage. Will they take damage? Or another creature uses a magical action to kiss them awake. If used more than once per also succeed. Wisdom save or take 8 psychic damage to basically I think very rare. Leap now. Sleep. DC 17. Have to make a wisdom saving throw or have the incapacitated condition until next turn. And then they must repeat the save. Hmm. This actually isn't a sleep spell then. Yeah, I'm just trying to bypass that. Basically, reducing the range to 5 feet. Failure. Fall straight into a magical slumber for 8 hours. I'm just gonna basically say, like, it says he casts sleep just so that we have for the sake of casting a spell. Um, but when they have cast it, it has a different effect. And essentially, it's at will. You can keep doing it, but each time you do it, you have to make a wisdom save, or you might suffer the same effect. Can't give that one to Knock. He's gonna start knocking everybody unconscious. Let me tweak that one a little bit. But those are some pretty good fairy tale inspired ones. So the next items I kind of want to work up are basically items that have like an oath involved in some way. That is whether that is like how the oath bow, you have to say the oath, and if you try to target another creature, you have like disadvantage or something like that. Something similar where there's like an oath or something you have to make. Um, I also wanted something that can play a little bit more with the campaign and the time. Not a serious oath, but like something like maybe it can't be too vague either. The oath bow is good because you pick a specific target and you say like that's my target, and um, but again I kind of want to do like vague things like okay, what about uh ask of the oath of silence. No, too wordy. Mask of the silent oath. We've got the mask of the silent oath. Wondrous item. Uncommon. Let's go for. Wait a minute. And while wearing this mask, silent oath is going fail miserably. But I found fail miserably. Blank mask. You. Okay. Out of the sky. attunement. So self. The verbiage at will. Cast it. Sailing alien limitations there. So I guess that's it. Typo would fail. Oh, I see. So while wearing the smooth balance, you can cast disguise self. So it's kind of like a hat of disguise. You gain advantage on stealth checks, right? But this mask's power remains inactive until you take an oath of silence. You cannot speak, write, use message, spells, taking the vow, activates mask. Through body hidden. So it's essentially kind of like your character is mute now, and you can use sign language, you know, or you can gesture things to people. Your character basically can't speak for that 24 hours. So it's kind of like a slightly stronger out of disguise. You can still cast disguise self. You have advantage on stealth checks, but you need to be quiet essentially. I was thinking because there's so many spells and things that let you write. I was thinking of like that let you make words and write things and stuff like that, or send writing or create writing. I guess if it stops you from writing, that's pretty bad. Yeah, we can remove that. Then I feel like it just becomes too easy. Use message spells. Cannot speak or communicate. How about I'll change the word to communicate using magic. And at least it allows for writing. It allows for leaving messages and things like that. But also means that we can't just like writing at a pace of conversation is hard. Yes, that's true. That's true. Lots of people do have sign language. That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's not too bad. But also like mainly when you're like the challenge of it is like casting disguise self and then like going into a building and then someone's like, "Hey John, how you doing?" And you're like, "I can't talk." And you're like what's going on? And you're like just shaking your head like, or like you start like writing things like or you like you hope I hope this person knows sign language. Like that would be the challenge. But yeah, so that's kind of like the kind of thing I'm thinking of when I mean like weird little. I should put like a page break in someplace. But yeah, that's the kind of like oath I was kind of thinking of. Let's see. Other ones where you can like declare a task, but that's a little bit too vague. So again, I'm thinking something that's more like something that's binding. Also, the ones that can just give you negatives, right? Like if you were just go with um a vow of oh okay, how about okay, so this is what I mean when I say that when I start playing games and I think about them and then they start giving me other ideas and other things. Um one of the things I like about the Expedition 33 games is how different each of the characters' mechanics are. But also, there's like certain situations where you're gonna fight just as one character on their own, and it's kind of cool to have like these little one-on-one battles. And there's upgrades and gear that you can get that specifically only benefits you in those one-on-one situations. Um, so I'm thinking of two. I don't even know what they're gonna do yet. So I'm gonna say Medallion of Solitude. Yeah, like I said. And then we're gonna have the Medallion of Confidence. So this one, while attuned to this item, you cannot benefit from magical healing. Attuned to this item, you have disadvantage on 20 tests while each no, that one's a little hard to do because then it kind of enforces uh lone wolf behavior. But I'm kind of thinking of one where it's like if you the Medallion of Solitude of like if you and no other creatures are within range, you get a benefit. Like man. Like I've been really hesitant to put any DC increasing items and stuff like that. But like this is one case where I'm like I might consider thinking putting one where it's like, okay, if there are no creatures within uh 50 feet of you, pretty hard to do. Uh, and again, no, you could just fly up into the air. Not too hard. But it's definitely an item that you can't use all the time then. But yeah, I was thinking of one where like uh doesn't basically the Medallion of Solitude, it doesn't come into effect if there are any creatures within 60 feet of you. Hmm. That's too hard. Too many spells are like that. Would definitely favor one too many classes over the other. But I also want it to be something powerful, like increase your proficiency bonus by 1. But while attuned to this item, maybe yes, okay, so how about it gives you a +1 to your proficiency bonus. But while you're attuned to this item, see, let me get into like what's a creature? How many creatures are there? If there's bugs around, is it gonna qualify? There's fish around, is it gonna qualify? See, that's too hard. I think that's better because DM has its own does have its own DC increasing item. Yeah. Um so I'm thinking of something maybe like Medallion of Solitude. While attuned to this item, gain a +1 to proficiency bonus. That'll be a base flat effect. But then disadvantage on D20 tests. You have the penalty too. I feel like that just makes this the item that would never be used. This is like with 30 feet, any creatures within 30 feet, and then there's just too much flip flopping of like, is there a creature there? Is there not a creature there? Does my bonus go up? Does my bonus go down? Something more elegant. Something that represents he's talking about the Dark Matter book has some items, but yeah, you're right, and there's no other DC increasing items, which is why I said like I've been hesitant to introduce any as well. But I want something that kind of captures solitude and again forces your character to do something that maybe they wouldn't normally do, like be alone. But again, for some characters that's just too strong. Like a rogue wants to be by himself, right? Oz wants to be by himself in the darkness most of the time. So it's how to capture this. This is why I'm like having a hard time with this theme, because it's like I want these things like this, like the Mask of the Silent Oath, the Medallion of Confidence, like yeah, like it's enforcing bad behavior, right? That's what I'm saying. Like Medallion of Confidence would be one where it's like, while attuned to this item, you cannot benefit from magical healing, but maybe either every time you land a hit, you gain healing, or maybe every time you land a hit, you gain temporary hit points. That'd be a pretty good buffer, although you can't stack those, so that's not as good. And it's not as beneficial against magical healing. Could also give you something that just gives you just a straight protection, like you can't benefit from magical healing, but you have advantage on all saving throws. Make it more like a compelled duel thing. A Medallion of Solitude. So like a one-on-one deal, you can pick someone as your one target and then have it be like we're on our own thing, don't bother us. And they're like always tricky to balance, because it's like it's got to be something that's potentially people are going to want to use, but it's also can't be something so broken. It also can't be something that's so negative that people are like, I can't use it. So like not being able to benefit from magical healing is a pretty hefty penalty. But if you had advantage on all saving throws, while you had that, would you consider it on all saving throws? That's pretty good. But it's like you're confident, like I'm not going to need the healing essentially. So I almost feel like there should be an additional thing. Like you do get temporary hit points every turn, just as like a buffer of like, so yeah, kind of like I need, in a situation where maybe you need the saves more, and maybe you're like, okay, if I take one hit, I'm gonna get like 15 damage or something like that, and my temporary hit points will eat that if I keep getting those every turn. But if I fail one of these saves, unrelated, but the session is reminding me to follow up. Can gauntlets be worn over gloves? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I have to come back to these because some of them like are just easier for me to like kind of work through, like the Slippers of the Cinder Bride. That kind of felt like okay, here's like a theme, and bam, here's some mechanics we can go. The Spindle of the Sleep Curse, it's very particular. How many people are you trying to put to sleep? How many creatures can you get within 5 feet that are gonna fail the wisdom saving throw? And then you gotta not damage them. So it's like, you damage them, they wake up. So it's a very niche item, but still pretty powerful. DC 17. Oh, the stolen flail. See, this is what I'm saying. Like this matchup here of items has been a mixed bag. The stolen flail from heaven deals an additional 2d8 radiant damage only when the wielder is barefoot. There's barefoot. Okay. And 2d6. Uncommon. Doesn't mean you can't wear boots. But also, I think almost anybody could just put these on. It is a very strong item for anybody who's barefoot, though. Knock, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it needs. This is what I'm saying. Like the negatives need to be things that are like, uh, this. Does 2d8 damage on a hit, and because this is a stolen flail from heaven, uh, what's when you roll tackle. Kind of roll. On your attack roll, take 2d8 lightning. So uncommon. If you have advantage, there's a really not that high of a chance of you getting hit. This I will make it less. That is basically you have a 50-50 chance of the gods smiting you for using the stolen flail, essentially. That feels more balanced. Okay. Got our beans of belligerence, we've got our figurine of Snape, we've got our slippers of the Cinder Bride, we've got our spindle of the Sleep Curse. I want to have Huntsman's something. Why don't just put a hand axe? Special hand axe. So I don't know what this is gonna do yet either. So as you can see, some of these items I'm definitely not gonna finish this stream. Probably have to finish them tomorrow. But this is kind of like what the process is like, and what also why it takes so long for me sometimes, because I'm like looking at them and I'm like, what's wrong with this? Is this good? Is this not good? What's the numbers here? Should I change this? Should I change that? So it's definitely a kind of process, but also too, like just being inspired helps. The fairy tale ones I feel like are a little easier and sillier because I can just read the stories and get ideas. But some of these both ones like are really hard. Like I'm looking for more like, maybe I wonder if this is the same huntsman who has, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jack and the Beanstalk, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Sunlight. What is the stolen flail from? So the stolen. So at the beginning of the stream, I was going through the Brothers Grimm stories, like literally going through the volumes and looking at the names of the stories. And there was one that was actually partially inspired by Jack and the Beanstalk. Actually, the living beans are not from Jack and the Beanstalk. It was just there's a story about these beans that come to life. That was also in the Brothers Grimm. The flail is actually according to the archives a cousin of Jack and the Beanstalk. This guy plants the seed takes him to heaven, and in heaven he sees the angels are sowing the fields, and he steals one of the angels flails, and one of their hoes. So yeah. So the flail, he says, is his proof that the adventure happened. So I kind of liked that story. I was like, oh, a flail from heaven? That sounds like a perfect idea. Bam. So yeah, so I was kind of looking through some of the ideas of the Brothers Grimm in the beginning. Same with the white serpent. There's a story of eating a snake and it giving you the power to talk to animals and them being your friends. I think the phrase that I'm looking for when I'm saying oath, actually, I'm thinking of double-edged abilities. That's what I'm thinking of, like abilities that are double-edged. Well, I know that is hoes like the tool, but in modern parlance, hoe from he got the hoe from heaven. I mean, hey, Jesus, hung out with everybody. Mary Magdalene, so oh man. So yeah, double-edged mechanics is kind of what I'm thinking of, and I feel like that's helping me to shape it a little bit better. But I don't want it to be something that's specifically like a drawback. I don't know, like it's hard. I don't want it to be an oath thing that's like, I choose to do this, and because of that, I get this benefit. So like the medallion of confidence, I choose to not benefit from magical healing, I get this other benefit. Okay, how about gloves of the grasping vine? While holding a weapon, your melee reach increases by 5 feet. However, you cannot let go of any object voluntarily unless you use your action to do so. So, essentially, once your character is in combat, if they've got their sword out, they cannot swap their sword. Oath of exhaustion, that's what I have. Yeah, I told my friend too, because he was like, oh, I feel like I'm always tired, and I was like, bro, you're just like always operating at one level of exhaustion. That's the issue. You need to like get a full long rest for multiple days. But anyhow, yeah, I'm thinking like that. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking of, like gloves of the April Voidco purchases have to be done today. Yep, today's the last day. Gloves of the grasping. What did I say? Grasping vine. Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna let you cast grasping vine. How about gloves of grasping gale? Kind of like the winds. I missed out on those pancakes last month, and I'm still so sad. Gloves of grasping gale. Missy could have eventually had a 16 to 20 crit rate. Oh man. This is gloves. This is gloves and holding weapon. Pieces. Eat. Out. do so. Is that an equal trade? Attunement, and you can't swap objects for 5 feet of reach? I named them gloves of the grasping gale just because it kind of it alliterates. But I'm kind of imagining while attuned to these gloves and holding the weapon, the magical winds of these gloves increase your reach by 5 feet. While wearing the gloves, you cannot willingly get on an object without doing so. But then we can also make it since we said they do wind stuff, what are some wind spells? Items to cast a 3rd level spell, not bad. To cast Wind Wall. Help you to block range projectiles. It's an interesting spell. Pushes creatures back. It's Gust of Wind. It's a 2nd level spell, which just pushes things line. Wall would be this thing. One that doesn't get. I can just toss that out. Tuned. These gloves can be used to cast Wind Wall. So what's this do? Too strong. Also thematically, I'm thinking like that these gloves kind of are around your hands and around the gloves, and kind of like it's why you're holding, your reach is increased because the wind is kind of helping you to expand, but then it's also like kind of solidifying your grasp there. So then like the wind wall is you like kind of using the gloves to bring up a wall. Extra 5 feet of reach and a well-placed wind wall whenever you want. Pretty good. But yeah, this is what I mean by like the setback, the drawback, the double-edged swordness of it. Much like, you know, what's that move in Pokemon? Takedown. You know, deals extra damage, but you take recoil. Okay, so I'm thinking of abilities and conditions that you can't get. Cursed Halo of Bravery. Okay. Attunement. All allies within 10 feet gain just be an aura, right? Advantage on saving throws. And then as a drawback, you cannot benefit from the invisible condition. I don't know if I can just put in the title that enemies will tend to target you, but yeah. Kind of, so if you're in 10 feet, it kind of requires you to be in the front line around everybody, right? In that zone. Advantage on saving throws is good in that range. This makes me miss blowing up and nuking half my health as Raggy. Very rare item. On saving throws, you're in the mix of things. You can benefit from invisible, which you really wouldn't be doing too much anyways if you're in the midst of everything there. Let's change some of your options, but it's not as. How about cannot take the dash action? Now that's pretty big. I feel like that's a pretty good benefit for giving all of your allies advantage on saving throws within 10 feet. Can't take the dash action, and you can't be invisible. So, I don't know. Like there's some cases Mr. C might not care. He doesn't need to dash. Cal can dash, right? Fina can boy jump. So I don't know. Gotta think on these. There's still a few more I want to add, and I'm still gotta tweak these here, but as you can see, kind of working through. Kyle can dash, yeah. So, but it also means no dust of disappearance, you know. Huntsman's hand axe. Yeah, I still gotta tweak some of these items, mess around with them, but pretty good so far. Thanks. See. It's also like this the part of me that just wants to like you know, like break the game open and look in the inside and see what's in there. There is this saying though that I find to be very, very true, which is that like the more 5e DMs tinker with and play with the game, the more and more they start creating 4th edition again, essentially. And I find it to be so true. The more and more I'm like, oh, this thing, and then I'm like, damn it, these are all 4th edition ideas. But it's all good. I think that's gonna be it for me today, though, at least for making of the items. Hope you guys have had a good day. Looking forward to gaming stream tomorrow. Decided to split up and set specific days that way, just to be more consistent, but also just to help me organize my own life as well, so I can dedicate times to things. Rex random question: will prior month's void codes maybe be recycled at later points or make appearances in other places? I was thinking they might make appearances in other places, yes, but I was also thinking of a yearly collection of like it's been, you know, it's the end of the year, here's some of the favorite items from void code from the past year, you know. Just know what you think, essentially. Did I save last month in my big file? I'm basically consolidating all of them together so that I have like, for one, so then I have all these items as well, so that I can make a book of items, and then, you know, other people can use them. But then also too, so that I can do, like I said, reference them and put them in the loop stuff, and yeah, that's my plan. But yeah, mostly plan on doing stuff like this on Wednesdays. Also, I'll probably be using this time to do my World Anvil article update. I'm gonna try to do one update a week. If I try to do anything more, yeah, definitely. Like if I can get a book to sell and organize them. The thing with these books is that like a lot of times the best thing with these books is the art and everything, you know. You kind of want it to have a specific style, so if not, then you want to have like a ton of items, which that's kind of what I'm going to work on. And with all of them having like kind of flavors, that's kind of why I'm choosing different themes that I can kind of organize and say like, hey, here's these kinds of items and these kinds. But yeah, and then also doing my World Anvil article stuff. Because if I leave it as like big chunks, it's like too much for me, and I just won't ever do it. But if it's like, oh, do one article, a week at the start of the stream or something, that's super easy and manageable for me to just be like, oh, here we go, write an article created about something about a person. And because it's the kind of thing where like the more articles there are, the more they can reference each other and the more they can kind of like build a network. Um, I know that that'll go a long way towards helping me to just continue to expand on it. Because right now, after finishing Cloudfield, my brain is like, okay, what next? How do I start? Should I do from the beginning of this and do this and do this? So best to take all those options away from me and just do one. Since I'm trying to really take in the wisdom of incremental progress and pacing myself of like little bits of progress each day. So that's my goal. We'll see how long that lasts. But thanks for hanging out, y'all. Hope you guys had fun. I'm definitely gonna go get something to eat and then play more Expedition 33. That game is so good, so beautiful. The music is incredible. I'm gonna download a lot of it and put it into our game. But it's also an original idea, and you can tell it has so much heart. It's so creative, and you can kind of see this is what a company does. A lot of the people from the studio were from Ubisoft and from other game companies, and they kind of came together, left those companies, and made their own. And it's kind of like you can see what they can do without like having a big company like Ubisoft telling them like, well, you've got to meet the demands of our corporate overlords. So I always love to, like, every year, me and I'm sure many others in the gaming community kind of look to the next year and try to anticipate like, oh, what's coming out next year? What's going to be the next big thing? Is it going to be Spider-Man 3 or whatever the heck? Is it going to be the next this or the sequel to that or this thing from this company? And it always makes me so very hopeful and optimistic about the industry as a whole when something like this comes out. Something like this comes out and it feels like a once in a generation thing that changes the way the genre is played from here on out. And it's like, whoa, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see. It won't be Elder Scrolls 6. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh man. But yeah, it comes so genre defining. It's like, wow, no one saw this coming. Same thing with like Balatro the year before. One dude made that, and it's like, wow, that was the game of the year, the most fun game that people like kind of played. So it kind of always makes me joyful, I think, to see like, yeah, something so wonderful could come out of left field and just completely rock the landscape and change art as we know it forever. And there was no way to predict it. And it always makes me think like, what else can I not predict, But that's gonna be it for me. Catch you later. Hanging out.